Away we go. Carp Bros number 4 coming at you live. Well, somewhat live, recorded live. Yeah, sure. Why not? Ryan Carpenter, P45 Knuckle Down Golf, coming at you from Central Georgia here.
Brent in Kansas City. Good to see everybody again. All 2 of us.
Had a little couple week layoff there with life like normal.
Yep.
And whatnot. But here we go. But yeah, over the past couple weeks, by far, at least in my opinion, we had the best dang golf tournament we've had in 2 years and 2 months now. Ever since the split, we had the first real tournament because everybody was dang near invited almost, or at least somehow brought into the fold. And go figure, coming down the stretch and all the way to the very last hole, it took a birdie for Xander to reach up and snatch this thing from Bryson. And so we had exactly what everybody's been wanting for 2 dang years, all the best players and at least one from each side playing all the way to the end.
Yeah, that was quite a finish. He kudos to Xander for holding it together and stayed pretty cool the entire time and then sunk that putt. That was impressive. He could have, as many would have, lost it.
Well, it's a good win for Xander. He needed it. He'd been carrying that monkey for way too long. And, you know, it wasn't that he wasn't good enough. We all know he's good enough. And that's the way golf goes, period, the end. Tournament golf is a whole different ballgame from anything else. And unless somebody's actually truly played long enough in tournament golf, then the only way you can, like Tiger Woods, that's an anomaly. The only way you can really boil it down is there's no guarantees. You might play on tour for 40 years and not win a single tournament. That's just the way it goes. So,
yeah,
he was due, and it was awesome. I wanted Bryson to win because I wanted it. It would have been an easy pathway to shut this whole damn thing down.
Right.
If Bryson could have won, but he didn't. And so now we continue on down this path with the same arguments and crap as I've always been.
You texted me pretty shortly after that. What did the PGA or somebody come right out and say?
No, it's the tour, not so. The PGA Championship is owned by the PGA of America, the working side, the working stiffs, as I call them, like me. And they did what they needed to do. They wanted the greatest, biggest, baddest tournament they could possibly get, and that's why they made the decisions they made. Because they're like, tour, whatever, you go make your decisions, whatever. We're gonna have the biggest tournament possible. And then, like normal, same with Richard Bland winning the senior PGA Championship. Bland's over on Live, and he won. So Bryson didn't, but Bland did. But it's not talked about as much because it's the champions. Well, per normal, the tour immediately turned around and said, nope, we're not letting them back into nothing. Tough crap. So they turned around and basically said, we probably had 2 of the greatest tournaments we've had in a long time. And immediately the tour said, tough, we don't want no piece of this. No thanks.
Yeah. And I text you one word back, which is still my stance on their whole attitude here, which is going to cost them everything.
Yeah, it's right now at the end of the day today, RBC still has not signed. The RBC is the current biggest, and they have multi tournaments with the tour, so they are the absolute single biggest sponsor.
Yeah,
and even they haven't signed on for the future. They don't know what they want to do yet.
Yeah,
and I don't even know that I've even honestly paid attention to maybe 5 seconds of the RBC. The Canadians are paying attention, of course, but I haven't hardly watched much of it. So, I know that Mac, which we've been waiting on this in a long time, he had risen to the top, and I assume he's still up there.
Yeah, I haven't looked
Mac
either.
has had about a 5-year run over on the DP World Tour. He's clear by 4 now. Wow, okay, there we go. And then Fox has had about a 1.5 year run over on the DPW Tour. He's up there in second, but it looks like, wow, Bobby Mack can close this thing out. So That's huge for him. It's unfortunate that he's not a full-time tour member. He probably will be though after this. So I don't know that he wants to be honest, but he'll get it. He'll tell you what, if he pulls this win off, he's going to get a phone call later tonight, early tomorrow morning from Mr. Greg Norman.
And who is this guy you're talking about? I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh, Bob McIntyre. He's the current leader of the PGA Tour, the Canadian RBC Canadian Open.
And he is not on the tour?
Well, he's not a full official PGA Tour card carrier. He has done well enough over on the DPWT that has brought him over to enough events.
Gotcha.
If he wins this, he'll secure a card for 2025. Yes.
Okay. Where's he from?
He's a which country? Not German. He might be Norway. Where was he from? That's a good question. I'm not remembering off the top of my head.
I see another potential fun story in the leaderboard.
He's Scotland. He's Scottish. He'll be having fun here in a couple weeks over at the Scottish show. Anyways, what else we got? Yeah, there's all kinds of things going on the tour. I don't know on the board. Which
Joel Dahman is T5 right now.
Oh, well, yeah, this is his. So this is he's the perfect example of being on tour forever, basically never winning and having a long career. So he hits a shot. I don't remember which one because I haven't been close attention. And like normal, he club off to the side and woe is me, and it lands like 4 inches from the cup.
Hey.
So
I mean,
yeah, he's a strange fella.
Well, maybe, but Tiger Woods has had plenty of that drama nonsense here too. Yes, not to compare the two, but
they do. Yeah, they do it for two different purposes. Tiger's sitting there going, "Sure, gone in, damn it, I'm gonna kick everybody's ass." Joel's hitting a good shot, going, "I'm terrible."
Yeah,
it's just the strangeness of the variance between the two is what's crazy about it.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So I guess one thing we could talk about today, and I don't know if there's a direct thread to it, but obviously last week, which I find to just be another example of hubris, which is the NCAA and their stance for the last decade plus, and ignorance and arrogance and so on and so forth. They are going to pay a $2.7 billion settlement, which I'm sure will mostly go to college football players, but
it's all football players. Yeah.
Curious, in your opinion, for all of the other college sports as they move in a very different direction now, a lot of unknowns, what, if any, impact this will have to, NCAA golf athletes?
They're getting paid out of the NIL funds already.
Right, but now, after last week's news, I think it's even more so they're going to
get paid direct. They'll get basically an income from the schools now too.
Yeah.
So the NIL funds will secure them and get them the big money that they really want. Now the schools will start figuring out a way to devise a employment role, if you will, payroll of some type. Yeah, I mean it's all of it's the same stuff. It's just how the cookie crumbles. I mean, it's just they're paid athletes is all it comes down to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. I mean, long time running, because what the NCAA is running into is similar to what the tour is running into. If they don't act quickly, they're going to lose everything they got. Because the players are taking control of them. I mean, they've taken it out of their hands basically, and the big money is going to go where the people want to go, and the people want to go away from the current system and the current settings and go down this route. And everybody's like, well, it's supposed to be student athlete. Like, come on, please. 20 years ago, USC was running around handing over bags of gold to kids. Like, get real. So, and Notre Dame, and I don't care. You name your team. You're not going to like me for saying it, but I don't care who you are. Bama, Georgia, Tennessee, Nebraska. Like, come on. How does Nebraska become a powerhouse in college football when they're in the middle of nowhere, the coldest, yuckiest, nastiest place on the face of the earth almost? And you're going to tell me that's a great recruiting site destination? Get out of here with that crap.
Yeah.
So, yeah, student athlete, my hiney is what it comes down to. So, whatever. But yeah, it's just the legalization of professional sports for college players.
Yeah.
All it is.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. I get it. I know coaches hate it because now they look at it as, well, I can't coach them and develop them up the way that we used to. Like, yeah, you're right. You can't. You're going to have to handle it in a different way. And welcome to, modern coaching.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, but I guess my question was, I don't know enough about college golf to know, purely speculative, of course, but I don't know enough to know about how it will affect college golf other than what's already happened, like you said, with NIL getting paid, but anything else
you just have to adjust your recruiting accordingly.
Most importantly, I wonder, will it attract more attention to college golf? As you probably are well aware, a lot of D1 athletes are great golfers too, even though they may go into a different sport. If I'm a grew up golfing 3-sport athlete, and oh, by the way, also a pretty darn good golfer, am I now more attracted to go D1 golf because I'm only going to be able to go D2 football or basketball?
Well, I will say this. By far and away, the majority of D1 golfers don't play other sports. They basically can't. It's gotten to the point where you have to, by the time you're close to 14, pretty much, you got to pretty much give up everything else and be dedicated. Otherwise, you ain't got no shot.
Okay, fair enough.
And here's the other thing to keep in mind. D1, so there's one of the main differences about golf, for sure. At the professional level, you got 150 cards, roughly. That's it. On the globe, and we're playing from a global group of players. We're not playing from an American group of players. Most other American sports are pulling from America only. So football is pretty much America only. Baseball, you got Dominican Republics and South American. You're pulling from, but it's still mainly the American population, right, that we're pulling from. The PGA Tour is pulling from the globe.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not doing a very good job of it, but they still have it rigged because I had this conversation a number of times with a coach guy who's got a guy who's playing on an APT tour thing. And I'm like, look, the cards are stacked against him. The path to the tour is currently set up. D1 golf, got to do great there. You get onto the KFT, you do great there, you get on the tour. Boom, 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 boom. It's a development system that they've put in place, and everybody knows it. And so if you can't somehow find your way to a D1 program, your chances just went all the way to the bottom floor. And so there's also only 4 guys at most schools, 4.5, maybe a 5th guy who get that full ride also. Yeah. And it's only at the top D1 program. Not every D1 program. It's only the top program. Well, that's probably expanding now because of what's going on. But anyways, the point is that the numbers of eligible players are so tiny compared to the amount that want it.
Yeah.
What does a college football team carry? 60 some odd kids? Or no, 100 and some odd. It's football's 53. Mizzou has like 110 kids on the team or something, like some crazy net. Well, you take 110 times 100 and what is it now? 17 eligible programs. That's a huge pile of kids.
Yeah.
Whereas golf, you got 5 and like 60 programs that matter, maybe.
Yeah.
So your amount, so it's kind of hard to say because, and by far and away, most of these guys that are recruiting who aren't D1, they can't even recruit America. It's just tapped out by the time they're 12. They're over in Scotland and Ireland and Africa. They spend more. My buddy who's been coach over at SLU for, I don't know, past 15, 20 years now, he spends more time across the pond than he does in America.
St. Louis University coach?
Yeah. Yeah, Troy, who used to work with me at Wolf Creek, he moved out there and took over that job about, I don't know, 15. Actually, he's both men's and women's coach. So
Cool.
but he can't even recruit in America hardly. It's tapped out. The funneling system, and then you start adding into it's hard to answer your question because golf is a different thing.
Yeah. Well,
It
I guess
doesn't change. It doesn't really change the landscape in golf because golf has already on its own developed its own system of securing these spots. Now they're just going to get paid for it. That's the only difference.
yeah.
And then the other part is you also have the people like me, except the big ones, not me. I'm the little runt in the room. McLean, Ledbetter, Haney, Como. You take the big names that have what I call factories, they call them academies. They're pumping out 6-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 18. They're purposely funneling through their system hundreds and hundreds of young, great golfers in order to try to hopefully funnel it down into the 1 or 2 or 3 they're going to go play D1 golf somewhere. So they're already securing those spots. They already have deals in place. The coaches that are at the really good programs, they already know I'm going to go talk to Jim every couple months down in Coral Gables, Florida, because I know he's got at least 5 or 6 of the best young players out there.
Yeah. Do you think
that's what people say when they come to me? They're like, "Well, can my kid play college golf?" I'm like, "Well, what level are you talking about here?"
I guess my question, if I ask it differently, is as you think of the next year, 2, 3, et cetera, especially with NIL and now the NCAA clearly losing a grip on things, could it expand the attention of college golf to the extent that more college golf programs rise in popularity and those small town USA high level football, basketball, baseball athletes who also can really swing a golf club, while they may not make it to the tour, go to college on a golf scholarship instead because, hey, it's a great way to get my college paid for. And in turn, it raises, which I think everybody wants, you and me included, raises the popularity of golf to, I don't know.
So, yeah, yes and no. Well, that already exists technically already. Like you can still go play at a team and get a full ride and know that you're never going to play on the tour. Like that already does exist. So not really. So here's the ultimate problem. Until this crap gets sorted out at the top, there's no, we don't know what the future holds right now.
Right.
Because again, right now it's currently created. So if you were to go to like college in Europe, for example, there's no guarantee you could be the number 1 college guy in Europe. And there's no avenue for that player to come play the tour. There's no direct, it's not right now. It's and again, this is the whole reason that there's a debacle at play. You have to live in America, basically, technically. You got to play in America college golf. So they've set this up on purpose. You got to come be here. You got to be at Georgia Tech, Texas, Southern California. You got, whatever. You name your top, key college teams. You got to be on one of those teams. And then you got to spend 4 years doing that here.
Yeah.
And then they funnel you into this system and they say, you got to be here if you want to be one of the best ever by playing on the KFT and eventually the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
And so until the top changes what's going on, technically still speaking, the PGA Tour is the place to be.
Yeah.
That's what they're holding on to anyways, right? So, and it's a finite number of people. It's such a tiny grouping. So the outliers in golf, nothing's going to change because you don't have like some major impact from the money side of it that all of a sudden changes the system of who gets in and who doesn't.
Yeah.
That doesn't change. Like, in other words, so to make it more, I guess, palatable, this young player playing in what's called the tour. It's just this little mini tour is all it is. And he kept trying to ask me, he's like, well, he's pretty good. He's probably going to make it someday. I'm like, look, I don't know how to explain this any easier than this. There's at least 10,000 of your friend out there. Okay. Yeah. He didn't play at D1. He played at little, Washburn in Kansas City. Okay. D2, not even exclusive, not even big time.
Right.
Yes, he's a good player. But there's a gigantic difference between good player and someone that played D1, went to KFT, did good on the KFT, and now has a berth on the PGA Tour. That step is so amazingly huge. It's now, based off raw numbers, it's not different much at all. It's like a half a stroke.
Yeah.
But it's the half a stroke over the course of a year in incredibly different levels of competition. That's the problem.
Yep.
And so the only way that this kid has a true path to the tour someday, because, my friend thinks he's so good, I said, look, here's what he has to do. He has to go play in U.S. Open qualifying and go play in the U.S. Open and finish top 10. Now he's got a chance.
Yeah.
It's the only way in. There's no door open to him. Because I told him, I was like, look, he could win 20 events on this little APT tour thingy you're talking about, and nobody's even going to pay attention to him.
Yeah.
That's just the reality. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what exists. So not really. No, I mean, I guess the best thing that I could say that could come from all of this is at least at a D2 school, you might get paid to play. At least something. I mean, it might be $50 a week, but
that would be my hope, because I think there is some good in that, even if it just influences the recreational game of golf, which you and I both want more of.
It's fine. Sure. Yeah.
And I think that's a silver lining possibly to all this. So
what I wish would happen the most when it comes to golf, and it's not going to be popular take, and I get it. Enough with the whiff and giggle opens, the scrambles, the drink all day and get hammered. That crap needs to go. And recreational tournament play needs to get brought back into the fold. I'm not saying it's got to be like super serious and, you're playing for $10,000, got to go make a putt on the 18th. It could be you could have no money on the line whatsoever, but serious competitive golf needs to come back into the fray.
Yeah.
For recreational players. And it doesn't have to, we're not talking about for money. It's just, it can be as simple as, playing in your club champion. Hardly anybody plays in the club championship anymore.
Yeah.
Like, that's sad.
Yeah.
The 2 years that I spent caddying for the club champion in high school were still today are two of the most valuable experience years of my entire lifetime.
Yep.
And almost nobody plays in this stuff anymore. I don't. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I want to see brought back.
Yeah.
Or put into play. So.
Yep.
Yeah, scrambles are ruining golf, in my opinion, but everybody likes them, so nothing I can do about it.
Well, what else? So I guess back to the PGA Championship and Bryson playing so well. Remind me, what other live golf players were in the top 5 or 10?
Oh, the contenders. Brooks did okay. He wasn't great. Trying to think of actual there weren't really very many true contenders. Most of the seconds and third type players had fallen off quite a bit. Gosh, I'm trying to think of probably who was the second best. I may have to look it up. I really don't. I don't remember. Those two kind of took the show. They were the show.
Yeah,
they're on the final day. PGA Championship, and then the whole crap with Scotty really overshadowed the whole damn thing, unfortunately. But
yeah.
I forgot because it's not on the list. Yeah, Bryson was the main one for sure. Burmeister, he had a really good run. He almost got up there to the top. I remember that, and he's been playing really good over there.
Yeah.
He would have been probably number 2, I think.
Okay.
It wasn't a great showing. Koepka, like I said, was up there. Those are the main ones that are at the top. So
Yeah.
it wasn't a great showing, that's for sure. Jocko, he was up there, and even DJ bounced back at the end. He had a final round of 66 that got him back up, in the top 50-ish range. So
yeah.
But speaking of living all this stuff, and you never have time, but there was one big one that did come out. So there's a Twitter feed called Big Boy Pants something. I don't know. Big Boy Pants Golf or anyways, somehow this fella, Big Boy Pants Golf YouTube channel.
Okay.
And I don't know, somehow this guy scored. So, and you probably don't remember. So original Golf Channel, when it first came out, one of the main original people was Mark Lai. Mark Lai played on the tour for a long time. Mark Lai, most people liked him for the most part, but he was definitely more of a fair, not comedian-wise, but Faraday type. Would take it a little to the edge just to see how far he could take it type.
Yeah.
Commentator, TV personality fella.
Okay.
And he eventually got fired. And then he got fired on Sirius XM because he went over to Sirius XM PGA Tour Radio after the Golf Channel changes. And then eventually got fired there. He said something to the effect, he's like, "You couldn't pay me to watch WNBA." And it sparked some big controversy, and so they let him go.
Yeah.
Well, he was already ready to walk anyways. He was coming, or so he says. I mean, we have to believe him. Anyways, he was about 4 months from being done at the Golf Channel, it sounds like anyways, or the PGA Tour Radio. So he gets on, and he's had a lot of comments ever since he got fired, a lot, and on his own. But he gets on this little YouTube thing, and they're talking about everything about Live. Well, what it really boils down to is he completely exposed Brandel and everything behind the scenes. CBS, Golf Channel, NBC, Sirius XM Radio, and he flat out said everybody's told to tell you whatever the hell they want to tell you. In other words, they're all told what they can and can't say on these platforms.
Okay.
Whether you're watching the regular tournament, whether you're watching the Golf Channel, Brandel, in other words, all of it's scripted, 100%. None of them are allowed to say anything they want to.
Sure. Yeah.
So it was quite a YouTube.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't surprise you, right?
No, doesn't surprise me the least bit. Now the reason is I have a little more different connection to Brandel. Go back, give or take 5 years ago, 6 maybe. He really got into talking about golf swings on TV.
Yeah.
And you got to be careful with that because there's a lot of us out there that we devote our time to this, and we don't know everything, but we're pretty, we got a pretty good idea. He started saying some things, and people are like, "Wait, what? That's not right. What the hell is he talking about?" And then kind of got called out for it, and well, he, like normal, he doubled down anyways, even though he got called out for it. And eventually it kind of turned into this thing, and a lot of the online golf groups were debating and talking about it too, and it became an uproar, and it was F Brandel, that bastard,
Yeah. Well,
he went to the PGA. So every year at the PGA Merchandise Show, there's a major set of teachers, class, little things you can go to.
Yeah.
And one of them is called the Summit. Anyways, he showed up at the Summit. It's one of the big ones. And everybody was, people were like ready to like record this. Like they were like, "Ooh, here comes Brandon." It had been, can't wait to hear what he says now. Now we're going to, you have to face the real crowd. And he gets up on stage and they're like, "Ooh, here it comes." And I guess, what it boiled down to was he went up there and he said, "Okay, let me just, I know everybody ready to, come at me, and let me just get this out out of the gates." He's like, "Look, I don't believe 50% of the shit I say on TV."
Yeah.
And so, we had our own 6 years ago. We knew this guy was full of, what, on the TV. So,
yeah.
It's, no, doesn't surprise me in the least bit. Nor does anything surprise anymore. I don't feel like there's anything technically on TV that is actually
exactly
truthful. I mean,
they get paid on views and drama, or in the case of the news, worse, unfortunately, attracts a bunch of stupid people that don't know how to think, and they stay glued to the TV and oh my gosh. And yeah, of course they're paying
well,
them.
I take it a different level. I mean, if you're investing for your future, and we're promised that this is going to work still, which it may not, but whatever, it's the model we're using. Well, we're investing in corporate America. Well, corporate America has one objective and one objective only: profitization. It don't matter what it takes to get that profit. You have to get that profit, or your investors are walking away.
Yeah.
Well, corporate America runs TV, folks, plain and simple. And whatever they say they want is what goes. Because that's how the money comes in the door. It ain't you sitting there watching that thing. It's the corporations backhanding each other with money that runs the whole show. So, of course, it's paid for, scripted, told for, whatever you want to call it. You can call it, you can link it to politics or not. It doesn't matter. The reality is corporate America is paying for that crap.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get you to buy their stuff so they can make a profit.
Yep.
Whatever it takes to get that job done, they don't care.
Right.
That's like, I don't know if it's talked about in the business world. It's talked about in the golf world. I can tell you that right now. One of the secrets of America, corporate America. But once that boardroom door shuts, nobody gives a F about nothing in that room except for how do we make more money. That's it. Period. The end. So yeah, but no, it's a good little YouTube. I definitely recommend it. A lot of people are not going to like it because there's a lot of people that are trying to protect Golf Channel, PGA Tour, and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
sorry, truth hurts. That's all I can say.
So back to PGA Live, I guess. What's the next major?
U.S. Open coming up here, Pinehurst. Yep. U.S. Open. So the last two majors now, here's what's going to be interesting about all this as we proceed down this path, assuming it's going to maintain its current trajectory. The next two majors, they have the best out of all because they got the qualifying processes in place, meaning anybody can play in their tournament, technically speaking. You have to have a 0.4 index just to go and sign up for a qualifier. So you either have to be a true 0.4 or you got to fake your index to get in. And then you got those guys showing up to the qualifiers shooting 107.
Yeah.
And everybody going, wait, how'd this guy do that? Well, he faked his index. That's how he did it, folks. Like, it ain't hard. You just plug in a bunch of fake numbers into the GIN system. It ain't that hard. But, yeah, I mean, technically speaking, these are the two tournaments that, while there are exemptions via the tour mainly, yes, but there's a lot of spots available to anybody. And if you decide not to do qualifiers, a.k.a. Gooch, okay, don't do it. Fine, whatever. You don't get in, period, the end. And there's no, we're just going to, well, we like this player from Live. We'll let him in. Nope. Not the way it works in the Opens. No.
Yep.
Now, that being said, they are giving Tiger an exemption. So they kind of are lying a little bit. Just a tiny bit. But that's a different ballgame. It's Tiger. So, but for the most part, they pretty much have the but now here's my issue with that in the future. They have the best way out of this whole debacle because they can say, well, we have qualified. That's how this is. We're an open championship. Okay, technically, sure. But then that also says this. Well, that means you're openly admitting that you're letting in a lot of people that may not be the best players in the world.
Yeah.
Does that mean that maybe your championships are not as good as we all think they are? Ouch.
Yeah.
Again, nobody wants to hear this, but that's the problem. But when you have a fight like this going on, every angle can be examined in whatever way people want to examine it. And the people who are not fans of America and the PGA Tour, that's what they're going to say. They're going to say that. What? You got 30 guys that play at the country club on the weekend playing in your championship? Get out of here. That ain't the best competition in the world. No way.
Yep.
And it's because it's true. It's not the best competition in the world anymore.
Yeah.
But the Open is designed that way so that there could be a handful. Now, granted, most of the qualifiers are being overrun by professional players nowadays, so the amateur making it is almost impossible nowadays.
Yeah.
It's not impossible, but it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
So they kind of have an interesting status right now, and it'll be very interesting to see. I think number one will be the Open Championship, because we already have a difficulty with that tournament in America anyways, because it's played basically in the middle of the dang night. So it's hard to get people to watch it anyways.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to watch the oh, that's weird. 30 players exempt. What the hell? Anyways, nobody wants to watch, the replay, because it's like, I already know who shot what. It's Sunday. It's Saturday. I'm going to go play golf at the club. Like, I don't want to watch this,
Yeah.
Well, you add to it the fact that the PGA Tour has purposely slighted the DPWT, which means, and this is the bizarre part that I still don't understand, they've basically told the DPWT to take a hike and good luck on your own, because we got our own battle to fight. And they're directly attached to the Open, because that's the RNA and that's the European Tour.
Yeah.
So why the RNA is still falling in line with all this crap, I have no idea. I don't get it. There just isn't any advantage for them to continue with this crap.
Yeah.
They're getting kicked in the teeth on every end of this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Liv took players from them. The U.S. ain't helping them in the least bit. The only thing they can hang their hat on now is just the Open Championship, and that's it.
Yeah.
And over here, people don't pay attention to it, to be honest. Not like they used to. Yep. So I don't know. I don't get it. But both of them are set up to where, final qualifications are still going on right now. And, the chances of, so if we go to like the Bears Club, or is this? No, that's tomorrow. So the only ones we have finished are England, Japan, Texas. All right, so let's look at Texas here. The chances of an amateur truly making it through at this stage is just almost impossible. I mean, they basically, because of this whole situation, I mean, Gooch might be not one that's doing it, but for the most part, every professional golfer that exists out there that isn't automatically in is out there playing in these. Case in point, taking all these chances away from the amateurs. So,
yeah.
This is hilarious. So you don't follow the DPWT, but one of my favorite names of all time to play professional golf, Nacho Elvira.
No way.
I love this guy. Anyways, okay, so this was the event where, so like Sergio was playing in this qualifier. He missed the cut. He didn't make it. He shot -3 and failed to qualify. But anyways, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not sure about that fella. 7, 8, 9. 9 of the 10 qualifiers to advance are professional golfers. 1 amateur made it. That's it. And he likely won't advance past the next level. So he probably will not play in the U.S. Open. So you've got, and then below that, Sergio Garcia, Kevin Streelman. Like, these are at least names people know. Henrik Norlander, Max McGreevy, Carlos Ortiz. Like, this entire list is basically a PGA Tour event from 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And this is just a qualifier for the dang U.S. Open. It's not even the finals. So this whole dream that is sold by the U.S. Open and the Open Championship, not exactly. It's gotten to the point now where there's so many good players that are playing professionally, and the tour is churning the bottom players now. This is, again, one of the problems. That's why Live exists. The tour is churning. They're looking for new players. Oh, sorry, you're not good enough. You're going to have to go to KFT now. You're going to have to go qualify for the Open now, blah, blah, blah. Well, there's so many of them.
Right.
And so you get these qualifiers that used to be mainly amateurs. I can't even – I mean, you have to go down the list just to find the amateurs. So it's not what – and I know it's not a popular take. A lot of people are going to get pissed if they ever – well, not that they're watching, but if they were, they get pissed off about this. It's not what we're sold. It just isn't.
Yeah.
It used to be. Back when I was caddying in high school, this was still very much a more amateur-driven thing. Sure. Lots of amateurs qualifying all across the country, trying to make their one chance at playing with the best players in the world in the country's most prized possession, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But, 25 years later, corporate America and everything else has taken over, and look where it is now. So,
yeah. Well, we got 5 minutes left. What do we want to wrap up on?
Shoot, I don't know.
U.S. Open predictions?
Well, we don't know the field yet, but I know DraftKings opened up their Millie Makers already.
How do we not know the field yet? Isn't it next weekend?
Because the final qualifiers have to finish here in the next day or two.
Okay. Well, are there major names that are still trying to qualify? Yeah,
so the finals happen a week before the event. So those last precious spots that everybody wants, that happens basically 1 week before the event. So even DraftKings, all they have is the reserve entries. So here's the problem. We're at Pinehurst for one. We don't know what the conditions are going to be like because it has been an incredibly unusual year. Like yesterday, we didn't even get in the pool here yesterday because humidity is down to 20%. That never happens down here, like almost never.
Yeah.
And it didn't get above hardly, I don't know, maybe 82 yesterday. Yeah. And cloudy. It was like dang near winter here. So conditions are going to be hard. I mean, there's reports coming out of there, but we still don't know until they start ramping up for the real event. We don't even know what the conditions are going to be like. So that's a big part of the problem. And assuming that it is going to play the way it should play, and then assuming that Scotty is in full form, there's really no reason to count him out. There just isn't. He's playing a level of golf that we call unconscious golf. He goes out and he literally just kind of puts it in neutral and plays and doesn't.
Yeah.
Walk in the park is the easy way to describe it.
Yeah.
Nothing bothers him. He's not super high. He's not super low. He's just going about his business, just let it happen. And so if you can play that way under a competition, you have an advantage on the field. Bryson has the distance to some degree that won't help him at Pinehurst, but there were some areas where it will.
Yeah.
And he's obviously coming off a huge run. So they're at the top of my list, that's for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
No doubt. Those are my 1 and 2s.
I'll go, and we'll wrap on this. I'll go Scheffler for obvious reasons. And this is probably the last time I'm going to do it, but I want it so bad for him. And I think he's playing pretty good golf, even though he's got a lot going on personally. And he's going to disappoint me in the 4th round or 3rd round, but Rory.
He's in form. That's the good news. And he just cut loose everything in his life that's a distraction. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not
so depending on what's going on with that, off the course. Hopefully he can focus this week. And like you said, his form's there. He's just a couple shots from being where he should be. And yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go with those two. Those are, big names, obviously, but
Yeah.
like you said, can't not go with Scheffler. And
yeah. Well, I mean, this is what's stupid. They're both at the top of the board. Scotty's +4 and Rory's +11. So
yep.
I mean, it's not even fair. These are Tiger numbers. Like, that's what Scotty's being given right now. This was Tiger dominant run era numbers, basically. So
Right. Yep. So
he's there, and Xander's only 1 point behind Rory. So I mean, he's in position. That's championship golf, though. 1 or 2 strokes is all. I mean, that's what it is. So
So all right. Well, I got to get the fam going. So
I gotta get off
next weekend. Have fun with
all right. You bet. Carp Bros out.
See ya.